Hey everybody, this is Jeff, the business guru in downtown Manila, late at night, and I've got an awesome gentleman from United States. After three UK people in a row, we're back to the United States where I'm more comfortable. Um, and this gentleman's name is called Emin Mohammed. He's the owner, and his company name is a very interesting subject. This one, guys, something true to my heart. It's called Colbycoco, vacation and short-term rentals. We're going to tell you all about that, guys. How to make and maintain money, how to get money out of your existing properties or any properties you might be going to get in the future. This guy can help you put you on the right track. He's been there and done it for a mere 30 years. So you think he might know something about it? Reach out, have a virtual cup. Virtual cup of coffee costs you nothing, guys, and you might learn a lot in it. Just for 15 minutes, have a chat. Right. So basically, he's in real estate and technology. Real estate investors who own rental properties hire him and his team to create profitable short-term rental businesses because most struggle with low profit, operational headaches, and no scalable blueprint. How true is that? So I help them eliminate the tenant stress, automate daily operations, and build direct bookings, marketing, and financial systems they can control. Bottom line, they can triple their rental business income in 2 years or less if they do the work and follow the steps. Nothing happens unless you get involved, guys. Colby's not going to come out the front and wave a sign around for you, right? You've got to do what he tells you, and then you'll make it. I have the same problem with my clients. The achievements. We developed a multi-billion-dollar enterprise systems for Fortune 500 companies, government agencies, and the hospitality sector, while also driving multi-million-dollar growth in real estate ventures. So this guy is the real deal, my friend. Personal motto, I show landlords how to triple their income without triple the work. Isn't that nice? Interesting fact about himself, he was a star college basketball player and proud dad of Beyond the Gates television star Colby Mohammed. So those of you who are in the States, if you know Beyond the Gates, look out for Colby. So welcome to the stage, my friend. How are you today, my friend?
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having me. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. International crowd, I take it. A lot of international folks.
Yeah. Mostly, funny enough, mostly from the United States. That's why I'm up all hours of the night. It's 11 o'clock here at the moment, 11 p.m. And guys, I do what it takes. And so should you. If you want to be successful, this gentleman will tell you, you've got to do what it takes. Right, so let's get started. Tell us about your journey and what inspired you after being a techie to pursue your current career. How did that all become about?
Oh my God, Jeff. Well, thanks for asking. Thanks for having me also. Well, it started way back in the mid 80s when I graduated from college. As soon as I graduated, I got right into system development, software development. But I started out as a computer operator. Back in the day, we had these big mainframes. Unisys, IBM 3090.
For those who don't know, guys, they were the size of a bedroom, right?
Size of a bedroom. Inside a really cold room. Yeah. You know, that was the computer room. You need the AC going at all times of night. And I felt like I was driving either a tractor trailer or a big airplane, you know. I was in charge of this big unit. And nowadays, you think about cloud services, all that is wires coming into that big machine from all over the world, coming into that big machine. And so all the operations, all the applications are run from that. We call it a server. But anyway, so I started out in the software development. And then as I became more experienced, more advanced, I started programming. And then we started designing and developing software. And then eventually I became a consultant. I worked for Xerox for a number of years, and we would fly around the country building out government systems. And I worked on many types of systems, government systems, Fortune 500, even hospitality. That in my real estate background in short-term rentals and vacation rentals, really that Liberty Travel is the company I worked for, a hospitality company. And that really helped me along the way. And so back to Xerox, when I was traveling around the country building out these government systems, my ex-wife and I would always stay in furnished housing. Back in the day, they would call it corporate apartments. Yep. Nowadays, they call it Airbnbs. They still call it corporate apartments, but now they're more of Airbnb. But I grew an appreciation for furnished housing.
Yep.
And so my ex-wife and I ended up buying a dozen homes, several homes, and we started renting them out. And we eventually
Nice.
transformed them from long-term to short-term.
Yes. Where the money is. That's it. Lovely. Tell me, what's been the biggest challenging aspect of your work and how have you overcome that over the years?
Well, the biggest challenge, well, when we first bought our real estate, what happened is we leased them out as a long-term rental. And
Yes.
some of the problems we encountered is we had long-term tenants.
Yeah.
One problem was
You're stuck with
very
them.
sorry,
You're stuck with them, right? You got to put a
stuck
long
with
term.
them. You
Yeah.
don't have flexibility. You're handcuffed to your tenants for multiple years.
Yeah.
It could be up to a decade where you
Wow.
never have access to that home. And let's say that home is in a beautiful area.
Yes.
You don't have access. Like I was telling Jeff earlier, we had a condo at the time, and it was a rooftop swimming pool in Buckhead of
Yeah.
Atlanta. For those of you who don't know, Buckhead is a really ritzy, fun area of Atlanta, Georgia. And we didn't have access because we had long-term tenants. And so one of the problems was inability to access those homes. Another problem was tenants depending on who and what time during the period, our journey, people weren't paying their rent. So
Wow.
how many times did we have to go to court to have them evicted over the 20, 30-year span?
Ah,
Several times.
yeah.
And so we encountered a number, and those of you out there, you landlords who have long-term tenants, experience the same problems, no flexibility and tenant problems.
Yeah.
And so how did I overcome? It was an article. It was a Wall Street Journal article, or maybe a Money Magazine article,
Yeah.
and they talked about this new company, and it was called Vacation Rentals by Owner.
Right.
Nowadays, it's called VRBO.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was a mom and pop shop.
Yeah.
So somebody just said, let's just build a website. Let's just have landlords put their homes, photos, and an email address. No
Okay.
real-time bookings. Real-time bookings, for those of you who don't know, is you press a button, book me now,
Yes.
enter your credit card information, and
Away
you're
you go.
confirmed.
Turn up. Yeah.
And this was 2001.
Mhm.
Back then, it was just a big advertisement. So make a long story short, we advertised our home on that website,
Oh, lovely.
VRBO, and we got our first guest. I mean, we got our first guest.
Then you went, aha.
This is it. But it happened right after 9/11. And we
Yes.
talked about this earlier also. So it was a bad time. We found a solution,
Yeah.
but then travel around the world was shut down.
Yeah, true.
For those of you who remember 9/11, travel was shut down. Nobody was flying. Obviously, nobody was traveling as a result. And
Yeah.
it was just total chaos here in the States. And so, so it was a double-edged sword where we didn't have the long-term tenant that was in place anymore because we had gotten rid of that person. And then we experienced that new challenge. But right after, about several months later, it just started to pick off.
Nice.
And we never looked back, basically.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah. See, guys, here's a story here for you. McDonald's, who make billions, not millions, billions of dollars, have got 15-year-olds running their hamburger joints. The same mother cannot get them to clean their bedroom. What's the difference? Someone like Emin here. Systems. It's all about systems, guys. As Emin will tell you, it's about the systems. The mother hasn't got a system. If she did, the kid would clean the bedroom. Anyway, tell us about an important moment in your career that pretty much changed everything. I guess you've covered that a bit when you had that aha moment after 9/11, yeah?
Yeah, it was after 9/11. It was right during 9/11 period where we had the aha, but it was reinforced later on. Oh, just to close that loop for VRBO.
Yeah.
VRBO, there was a mom and pop shop. They ended up selling VRBO to, I think it was HomeAway
Yeah.
or Expedia Group.
Yeah.
They ended up making millions because they had a system. They had software.
Nice.
And so you need to have a system for whatever you do. If you're a plumber, if you're
Absolutely.
if you're a realtor, if you're a business owner, you need a
Anything.
system.
That's right.
If you're not renting it, you need to build one.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was, to answer your question, second reinforcement came about around, this is 4 years or 3 years later. We were really successful with our Atlanta property, but we had one of our homes in Jersey. It was a long-term tenant in there. I call this the Ross effect. We had the worst tenants in the history of tenants. I mean, they were in the home for probably 4 years total. And they paid their rent for the first 3.
Yeah.
Year 4, that's when we started having problems.
Yes.
And so we ended up having, make a long story short, we ended up having to evict those folks. So we were in a hole, several months, which was more than several $1,000s and behind. But not only that, they ripped the house apart.
Wow.
We probably had $50,000 worth of damage.
Horrible.
We were like, we are not renting this home out to any long-term tenants
Guess what,
anymore.
guys? The courts don't care. Let me assure you, the courts don't care.
Oh my God. It was such a challenge to get them out. And then we had to transform the Jersey property from long-term to short-term. And this is a couple of years after our initial. And so that reinforced the idea that short-term rentals is the way to go. Not only were we tripling our rental income, we were also having the ability to visit whenever we wanted.
That's right. That's part of your conditions, right? Tell me, how do you stay motivated as you've done and continue to innovate in your field?
Oh, wow. That's a great question, Jeff. And for me, it's really easy because my whole North Star is continuous improvement.
Yeah.
And so we have a formula to make continuous improvement a reality, and not saying, oh, it's in my head. We have matrices. You have
a passion, not a business, right? You got a passion.
We got a passion. And so for me, it's really easy because I'm a technologist. Yes. And for those of you who are not familiar with, there's an organization called ISO. We call it ISO, International Organization for Standards. And when you build, a lot of you are familiar with organic food. You have that patch. Yeah. This is organic.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same in the business world. If you have a stamp that's you're ISO certified, and again, it's International Organization for Standards. You standardize your approach.
Yeah.
You can't just say what you do. You have to do what you say.
Love it.
And if you don't, and how do they prove it? They audit you. You have to track whatever you do.
They probably come and see you every 12 months or so and double check you out again. Yep.
Exactly. So how do I stay motivated? Really mapping out what I do, doing what I map out, and then seeing where we can improve and do that iteration.
Yeah,
and so it's always a constant challenge. It's fun to see where you started from, how far you came, and where are those places you can improve.
Love the story. Tell us about a recent project or achievement that you're particularly proud of.
Well, what I do now, so we have 2 arms. I mentioned to you, Jeff, earlier.
Sure.
So we help our landlords transform their rental properties, transform them from traditional, the old way of doing things, or traditional way of doing things since the beginning of time. Folks have been renting their homes out in a long-term manner. How do you transform it to that old model or the original model to the next generation or the current model, I call it the next generation because Airbnb, people call them Airbnbs, but they're basically furnished housing.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? How do you do it? And it's a systematic way of doing it. It's a systematic way using ISO ISO-like standardization. Yeah. And so I'm really proud of one, and I have 2 arms. I have the done for you, where a landlord will come to us and say, hey, Emin, you and Colbycoco, would you please rent our property out, transform it to a short-term rental? Yeah. I have a day job. I don't have time for it. And we would transform that rental property based on what we do all kind of research analysis. And design is part of the formula also. And then after the design, we implement and we go live. And so we do it for our landlords. But that same framework, analysis, design, implementation, we also teach. So our other arm is e-learning, and we teach folks how to do it using our approach. And so I'm really proud of the fact of one of our landlords really saw all the value in transforming his rental property. His rental property, he was renting it coincidentally to a family member.
Yes.
And And the irony is, family members tend to rip up your house more than the traditional rental.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It was crazy. So I walked into his
You're
home.
rich. You should help me. Right, I get it.
I walked into his home. His niece had the house. There were cats all over the place. There were spider webs all over the place.
Oh,
The house was in disarray. It wasn't kept up. The lawn was insane. And on top of that, he was telling me they weren't paying their rent.
God almighty.
Oh, what a mess. It was
What a
mess.
challenge. What a
And
challenge.
so I took pictures. This is the before. And then using our framework, we transformed that property
Love it.
from before to after. And afterwards, it was beautiful. One of the things about vacation rentals, short-term rentals, furnished housing in places, you need to always have a guest ready, because you never know when a guest is like traveling from New York to UK.
That's right.
And their flight is canceled. They need to stay 2 extra nights. The house needs to be ready. So one of the advantages of having a short-term rental is your house is always beautiful. It's always clean. It's cleaner than when you live there.
Yeah, that's it.
Every day. It's amazing. And so after we transformed his rental property, we took before and after pictures. So aesthetically, it was like night and day.
Yep.
And then after a few months, we saw all the revenue coming in.
Lovely.
And so obviously, and the rent is never late, because before they check in, they pay their rent. So you're guaranteed your money. So
that's it.
So he was really happy. We were really happy that we used his home as a use case to really validate our process to other landlords.
These days, guys, electronic locks, you can actually lock them out with your mobile phone.
Exactly.
Yeah, let them in and let them out.
And that's the thing, though. That's just one app in the entire process. And how do these different apps talk to each other? So so you can be in Tahiti somewhere on a beach.
Yeah.
You just can't have an app on your phone and just whenever you're checking somebody in, click the buttons.
Yeah.
You need to have a workflow, a process, job control.
Correct.
And
make sure it happens. Tell us about what advice would you give someone who wanted to follow in your footsteps? A 20-year-old version of you, and he's not sure where he wants to go. What would you tell him or her? Or your daughter, for example, what would you tell them?
Well, my daughter, I've been telling her since she was born, is education is so important.
Yes.
Validating your ideas is so important. You can't just say the world is flat. You got to be able to validate that is the case.
I would add to that, say the right education, correct? Not just education.
The right education. Well, the right of education, that goes with validation. You get an education. Is that education validated? Is it really the real deal? That's the tough part. How do you validate?
Correct.
One of the things, I worked in government, I mentioned earlier, and we developed software for social services. If you think of food stamps, emergency assistance, different programs, there's a workflow to that. First they do something called intake when the first person comes in. And during intake, he may say, hey, I make $20,000 a year. But back in the day, prior to verification, the caseworker would just enter that information in without validating. And so what happened is people were getting benefits that they didn't deserve, and so on and so forth. So my advice to folks is, if you have an idea, make sure you validate, make sure you verify that it's a good idea. And did you know 97
test and measure is my mantra. Test and measure.
And that's all part of your plan. So you got to have a plan. You have to have a framework or a format for your plan. And during that validation process, it'll be inside of your plan. 97% of the world does not have a plan. People do not have a plan in place.
Right.
Only 3%. Only 3% have a plan. Those 3%, there's like, I don't know, 100 times, 10 times, some crazy amount.
That's why they call it a job, just on broke, because they go payday to payday, right?
Exactly.
Well, the government loves it. We don't like it, but the government loves it because they keep you in the system, right? But escape the system, guys. It's about family and freedom. Get that freedom happening, guys. Looking ahead, you're only at base camp, my friend. You've got a long way to go. Looking ahead, what are your goals and aspirations for the future?
Well, my goals are really to, and I told you my last answer or related to the last question is just to
Yeah.
educate the world as to on the topics of not only real estate, but how technology can support your real estate venture or
Yes.
how technology support anything you do.
Yeah.
So, but my particular area, my specific area is real estate right now and technology. So
Yeah.
if you're a
Join the
young
team.
person and you're looking to get into the property management business, a lot of these young folks are going into, getting their real estate license. They're going into
Sure.
sales and rentals. In that which case you start working for a broker.
Yeah.
That's traditional way. I would suggest reimagine that approach. There's a lot of things going on in real estate world today where if you get your real estate license, is not as profitable as it was back in the day. They have all kind of regulations in place now.
Yes.
So
It's
do
tougher.
due diligence, get education. What other options are out there? What's your vision? What's your goal? And so my vision for the future is to educate as many people as possible
It's golden.
in the
That's
areas
golden.
of real estate and technology. And AI, you all guys know, AI is taking over the world. How do
Absolutely.
you leverage AI
That's the
with
technology
whatever
part,
you
guys.
do?
Yeah, that's the
How do you
technology part.
leverage? Education, education, education. And
And
if you're able, really look at some approach that's similar to an ISO approach that I mentioned earlier, ISO.
yeah, absolutely. A ChatGPT mentioned real estate, guys. You can write your ad out and then set it and write it out rough as, then give it to ChatGPT and say, give me a better version of this, and it'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind. And it's so quick and so exciting. Um, tell me, tell our listeners and people watching this wonderful podcast, what's the best way to reach out and find out about A, if they're in your area, getting you to look after their property for them, or B, showing people anywhere else how they can do it themselves with your wonderful training and program. What's the best way for people to contact you?
Well, are they going to see? I can give you my email address, or I can also give you a link in the chat. I don't know
Yeah.
if you can share that. Which would you rather prefer, Jeff?
Either
For
or.
your-
What's going to happen? Everything you've already sent us, we're going to be putting this across all the social media channels for you. So we have everything here. We have your email, we have your Facebook, we have your LinkedIn. We've got the whole 9 yards. What we'll be doing with all that, guys, is putting it across Quora, Reddit, LinkedIn, Facebook, our Facebook group, 6,500 people, and of course YouTube with all of his social media links, so you people can reach out, have a virtual cup of coffee, and find out more about how Emin can help you.
Yeah, I just put in, Jeff. I just put into the chat.
Let's do
We
that.
have, if you're looking for to launch a short-term rental, we have 10 steps. I talked about a couple of the steps today.
Yes.
The first one, vision and goals, really important. What's your vision? And your goals. And so we have 9 other areas that we talk about in our free download.
Love it.
And it really gives you a checklist of what to do in order to convert, what's needed to convert your property. And if you need help with implementation, you'll also have information on how to contact me. And yeah,
Love that. Tell us, before we wrap it up, tell us a fun fact about yourself that most people don't know.
a fun fact about myself is
Yeah. A fun
I
fact.
mentioned this earlier. Fun fact is I was a really good ball player. I got my business and technology degree in college. It was athletic scholarship, so I was a really good ball player.
Huh?
6'3". I was a really good shooter,
Yeah.
and I'm pissed because I lost a lot of points because the the 3-pointer didn't really go into effect until a year after I graduated. So I got gypped out of a lot of points. You overcome, you overcome, you overcome. And
Yeah.
so because although I got gypped out of a lot of points,
Yeah.
I almost had a fight with Michael Jordan. We were actually tugging and about to fight because Michael Jordan was really, he wasn't the nicest person in the world, let's just say. And so he rubbed me the wrong way and we ended up getting to a scuffle. So I was a ball player and I almost had a fight with Michael Jordan. And
There
I
you
have
go.
a thousand
That would have been interesting.
stories.
Guys, we got to wrap it up now. But guys, if you want your 15 minutes of fame, every man and woman out there's got a story, and I want to hear your story, guys. So come on, 15 minutes of fame, and we'll make you more famous than what you already are, and potentially put you in front of hundreds of prospects. Think about it: a TV commercial sets you back about $30,000, and what people will do? They'll jump up and make a burger, grab a drink, or go to the toilet while the commercial's on. five or 10 radio spots are going to set you back anything from 3 to 5,000. Invariably, they're going to play them at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. No one's going to hear them. Come on 15 Minutes of Fame, and we will make you famous. We'll put you across all the different platforms, just like we will for our friend here, and put you across all those links, with all your links on, so people can reach. If you've got a great product, this is the platform to push that and promote that product. Once again, thanks, 𝐿𝐼𝐬𝐬, for being on the show today. You've been awesome, my friend.
Thank you, Jeff, for having me. Thank you, audience, for listening, and look forward to hearing from you.
That's the one.